Facebook. Alright, it looks like I should be live on everything right now. Make sure Twitch is good to go. It appears as though I am. Sweet. Okay. All right. Intro. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, intro. First of all, hi, how you doing? My name is Blake. No, I'm not gonna start it off like that. Not actually. So, stream name is Live with Ebs. Business name is Ride with Ebs. And essentially, I am an e-commerce business, startup business, selling, working towards selling electric bikes, scooters, and skateboards, as the made-up word Ebs would suggest. I don't expect anyone as of yet to get there on their own, get to that conclusion on their own, obviously. So, on my journey to actually getting electric bikes, scooters, and skateboards listed on my website, ridewithebs.com, ridewithebss.com. That's all one word and everything like that. Go check it out. On my journey to do that, I figured that I might as well just go ahead and start making content, putting my 2 cents into different news articles and things that come across my news feed related to the industry as a whole, being the industry of electric bikes and scooters and skateboards, and just put my 2 cents into it as a way to help put my business out there a little bit more. As a matter of fact, I will go ahead and mention real fast that I do have now officially a third product on my website right now, ridewithebs.com, which I will pull up here real fast. And the main thing that I have that I just got put onto my website right now, it's not there right now. It's not on the homepage right now yet, but it is on the top right here. The hydration backpack and the electric air pump are pre-orders. You pre-order it, and the manufacturer, I did not make these myself. Full disclosure. The electric air pump and the hydration backpack are things that I have found on Alibaba, that I've found different manufacturers that make these, and I do have a minimum order quantity that I have to fulfill for them to actually arrive branded and everything like that, making sure that my brand name and business name actually go on them. But this beanie right here that I've been testing out, which also note that I am testing these products out. I have these products, the physical products. I've been using them on a daily basis, semi-daily basis. Obviously, the electric air pump, I'm not going to use an electric air pump on a daily basis, because my tires actually hold air on my bike. But The hydration backpack, definitely. Although full disclosure, I quit using the hydration pack. Um, Part of that had to do with just simply the fact that I'm just not quite used to having. I'm not quite used to the maintenance of a hydration pack. I was I was doing my best to break into the habit of using it, and I just found it a little bit cumbersome. But also the fact that there wasn't really anything wrong with the hydration pack. It worked, except for one instance where, because of the fact that, like you see right here, I've got a whole lot of tech that I carry with me on a regular basis, and one of those things being a laptop. And at one point, I didn't quite have the straw screwed into the pack, the hydration pack, tight enough for it not to leak. It was a slow leak. My first thought was, oh my god, I punctured the pack, but no, I just didn't quite screw it in all the way. And with the with my laptop right there in the main compartment of the backpack, the hydration pack actually had its own sleeve within the main compartment of it. Unfortunately, if you have a slow leak, it doesn't matter, and my laptop did get a little wet. It survived, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, I needed to look for a sleeve for my laptop. Still have yet to find one, but at any rate, I'm finding different products on Alibaba, between these two things right here, the electric air pump and the hydration backpack. I'm finding different things on Alibaba, because, I mean, it just works better out. It just works out better that way, as opposed to me figuring out how, to manufacture products. But I'm actually using these products on a regular basis. I'm not just hawking cheap garbage on the internet and expecting everybody to buy it and then hop town. Because I'm actually looking to grow a brand, so I want to actually have the products in hand and be able to physically use them myself on a regular basis, on a daily basis, whatever the case is, like that. So, that being said, these two things right here are pre-order. The electric air pump and the hydration backpack are both available for pre-order right now. It's a matter of just I forget what my quantities are right now. Mind you, I am a small startup, but the embroidered beanie, I'm probably gonna change that wording eventually. The beanie, obviously, that's print to order, and I went this way just to have a lower priced item on my website that can be sold more easily and be sold in a quantity of one, as opposed to something that needs a quantity of like 50 or whatever the case is, like that. But I have been using it. It's went through the wash one time so far, and it's still held up. And I'm going to continue to use it. And thus I have it listed right here on my website. And that is how I make money. Full disclosure, I am still a business. So I do need to make a certain amount of profit. But any ads that you see on this video are not paying me anything. Like, I'm not affiliated with anyone. I am not gaining any ad revenue or anything like that. I am simply looking to sell products on my website that that are a part of electric bike, scooter, and skateboard culture. Thus the electric air pump and the hydration backpack. The beanie, granted, not as much, but even so, I still use one, even if nothing else, just for apparel. I did have a jacket and a sweater come in. They were too small for me to use. So they will go to somebody else that I'm going to have working with me on this as a business partner. But right now, the only thing I've got on my website that is print to order, and you should receive it within a week, I'm going to say. They may be a little backed up or whatever the case is like that, but it does still absolutely work. At any rate. So, like I said, full disclosure, I'm not making any AdSense money, any commercials that you see. I'm not being paid or anything like that. I am a small startup. I don't have any investors or anything like that. I was looking for an investor at one point, but I'm not anymore now, because I figured that, you know, I'm essentially putting my back up against the wall and saying, okay, I'm going to sell these products on my own. You know, I've got friends and family and everything like that that are willing to help me out, in a physical sense. Had a little bit of a private investment, from a closer family member of mine. That investment unfortunately went sideways, but I am going to be paying that person back with hopefully my next tax return. And other than that, I really just want to make content about my business and about the industry as a whole, right? So thus I have multiple articles pop up here. I'm constantly searching for different articles that give me some news about the industry related to bikes, scooters, and skateboards. And in the end, I'm probably also going to wind up putting my 2 cents on them and everything like that, and hopes that if nothing else, at least I educate you as the viewer about something, or or maybe you just find my commentary entertaining, or whatever the case is like that. But that is full disclosure. And I will go ahead and start in on the first article that popped up in my newsfeed a little bit ago, which is 2 things holding e-bikes back, from Clean Technica. Yep. I think I've read a few articles from Clean Technica in the recent past. Okay. 2 big things holding e-bikes back. And a couple of recent articles, 2 obstacles, 2 big in a couple of recent news articles, 2 big obstacles to e-bike adoption became clear. Landlords and thieves. Hey, I talked about thieves in a previous podcast. Go check that out. And apparently I'm going to be talking about it again here. But yeah, let's see what else. Even without adopting a socialist talking point, the problem basically boils down to thieves in both cases. Huh. Interesting. Let's take a look at each problem, and then I'll explain further why it's thieves in both cases. Okay. New York City landlords aren't letting people bring e-bikes inside. I wonder if this is going to go the way I think it will. I have not fully read this article yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to go the route of your battery for your e-bike might explode. I'm thinking that that's the excuse or reason that landlords are using in order to stop e-bikes from being brought in. Let's see how right I am. In a recent article, Cycling Weekly, it's explained that landlords in New York aren't letting tenants bring their e-bikes indoors. Why? because they sometimes catch fire. Yeah, seems to be going the way I thought it was going to be going. Being a big, dense city in a country that doesn't have too many big, dense cities, New Yorkers love e-bikes. I cannot blame them. In a city like New York, very easy way to get around, very efficient way to get around whenever you're, you got people stacked on top of people, stacked on top of people, stacked on top of people, so on and so forth like that. Ouch. And it's not in a pleasurable sense. It's explained that landlords aren't letting people, being in a density, traffic sucks, and in many cities, so does the subway. But if you have an e-bike, you can zip along through and around traffic without going on the subway, without breaking a sweat. This is true. And on the way home, you have the option of getting a nice workout in. Yes, that is absolutely still one of the benefits of e-bikes. I've heard it argued that, you don't get as much of a exercise in because of the fact that you're on an e-bike. It can propel you, and that is partially true. There is a certain amount of truth to that. However, especially if your e-bike is federally street legal, that only gives you 750 watts of power. In some cases, like going uphill with a backpack full of tech, fighting against the wind, you're going to want to help that e-bike out because it's going to be struggling. And on top of that, you're not necessarily always... you are going to end up still getting more exercise in, even with an e-bike, than what you would in your 2-ton tank. You just are. There's no two ways about it. Doing this number, just pushing the pedal down is a lot less exercise than what actually pedaling a bicycle is, even if it's an electric bike, because of a lot of that has to deal because of the legal wattage output limit. On the way, but if you have an e-bike, you can zip along. And on the way home, sadly, with the popularity came problems. With the city leading the U.S. in e-bike adoption, rare problems became unrare. Injuries and rare problems became unrare. Okay, I get what they're saying, but whoops. Okay, there we go. I get what they're saying, but rare problems became unrare. That's like a really awkward way to say it. Injuries and especially fire made the news. Unfortunately, there has been a big reduction in e-bike. Fortunately, there's been a big reduction in e-bike battery fires. Good. With a good chunk of it attributable to a new city ordinance banning the sale, rental, or lease of bikes that don't meet UL safety standards for fire and electrical safety. That is actually where I was going to go with this, and I'm glad to see that it went there on its own fruition, because a lot of e-bikes, especially the better e-bikes, the better electric bikes, the better electric scooters, the better electric skateboards, electric micro mobility devices, A lot of them are actually using the same batteries that your phone and laptop and smartwatch and all of the other tech that a lot of people are adopting into their lives on a regular basis and have been doing it for years. Now, they're using the same type of batteries, the same makeup and everything like that. It just happens to be at a much larger scale for obvious reasons. You're not going to put the battery from your Apple Watch into an electric scooter and expect the same range and expect the same results as putting a battery that's made for an electric scooter into an electric scooter. It's just not going to happen. However, whenever you start talking about like a $200 mini e-bike, the folding ones that, they fold up, you can get them at Walmart or whatever like that. Whenever you start talking about those type of batteries, they start cutting corners to cut the cost. And what happens when you start cutting corners, especially whenever it comes to safety? What happens is that you wind up with products that don't meet safety requirements. They have, in a lot of instances, the companies have not paid any sort of money to make sure that safety requirements have been met and earn those stickers. This sticker right here they're talking about, the UL safety standards for fire and electrical safety, it is a sticker that if you see it on a battery, that means, and it's the right kind of sticker, that does actually mean that that battery has been tested and approved and it does meet the safety requirements. You're most likely not going to blow up just from you charging it inside, most likely. Obviously, the safety standards are made by humans, and humans can still make mistakes. However, I will always argue that it is better to go through that safety standard than what it would be to skip the safety standard entirely and wind up wishing you had of, because 99% of the products of the bikes, scooters, and skateboards that you as a retailer are selling wind up causing people's homes to burn down. That's just, no good for anyone involved for obvious reasons. But unfortunately, some retailers are creating their own safety standards and thus creating their own, printing off their own UL safety standard stickers. And they are, they're doing it in a way that simply allows them to look legitimate whenever they are not. And and unfortunately, there's a lot of people that work in news organizations, or they just have a large following in general, somehow, some way, that they wind up painting all electric bikes, scooters, and skateboards with this broad stroke of none of these things are safe because they will blow up in your living room, which is simply not the case. It's never 100%. And the thing is that that is unfortunately what I've seen that so many times, as to where they it's blown out of proportion. And so the next thing you know, you get a bunch of asshole cops that want to pull over any kind of bicycle, scooter, or skateboard that even looks like it could possibly have a battery in it. Because some bikes, scooters, and skateboards don't look like they actually have a battery in them whenever they in fact do. So, that's just one of those things that people need to watch out for, is making sure that you have, let me see if I can look up here real fast, UL safety standard for fire and electrical. UL safety standards for fire and electrical safety. Okay. Let's see what this safety. Yep, I remember seeing this on a lot of things actually. So something like that. Unfortunately, it's good that something like this exists. I'm not saying it's not. What I am saying though is, unfortunately, some retailers, some resellers, will print the sticker off, out, from their own printer or whatever like that, and slap it on, even though they haven't actually tested their product to qualify for this sticker. You actually have to qualify for this sticker, and if they're doing it almost any other way, I believe that is fraudulent. I could be wrong. I'm not 100% sure about that. I will disclose that right up front. I'm not 100% sure if you can independently print this off and put it on a battery. If you can, that's a little concerning to me. But it also depends on, I'm not 100% sure if you can, if you as a retailer are allowed to even make up your own rules for printing a sticker off like this. So I just don't know. What I do know is that usually if it has a sticker like, I'm gonna pull this other one back up here. If you have a sticker like this on it, you're most likely fine. It most likely means that it's gone through an actual certification for this, and you're most likely fine to have it in your home with you, and it's a good way to ensure that it's been put through its paces before it wound up at your front door. So just to point that out there. Lease or an bike that doesn't meet UL safety, fire and electrical safety. This isn't good enough for the landlords who saw ugly photos of burnt buildings on the news, though. Yeah, news loves to. The news absolutely loves to just blow a story up like this and make the culprits be the people that buy these things. Instead of saying, hey, make sure that what you're buying is actually certified safety. In some cases, property managers are banning e-bikes entirely, no matter whether they meet safety standards. In other words, they want proof that they meet UL standards. In others, property managers lie and tell people that the city doesn't allow e-bikes in apartments, and always consult a lawyer about legal questions. Okay. Yes, that's a good idea. Absolutely. Because realistically, a landlord doesn't really have the right to tell you beyond what the city laws say, beyond what neighborhood code enforcement says, different things like that. They don't really have a right to tell you what you can and can't have in your home. Obviously, if you're growing some sort of plant, we all know what I'm talking about, and you're doing it in a city or in a state that still has it banned, obviously, landlord has every right to kick you out, and they probably will, and they'll probably win even if you try to sue them for it. On the other hand, unless the city or state has a specific law saying that you can or can't do something, landlords honestly only have so much power. They don't they cannot tell you that, well, it's just like the bringing your cat or dog in or whatever the case is like that. An apartment complex can try to tell you, hey, you're not allowed to have pets in, but if your pet or dog or if your cat or dog or pet is, for your depression, or if, they're a service dog or something like that, well, that there's a loophole for that. See, there's all these loopholes um, that you really need to look for. This is one of those things where you really need to do your research and figure out whether or not your landlord actually can impose certain rules that they're trying to impose on you. Uh, uh, we're just not educated enough about it. A lot of us aren't. So, if your landlord is trying to say that, hey, you can't have, your electric bike in here, well, um, you actually can, but it is at your own risk, and you are going to be fighting your landlord, potentially legally and everything like that. But it's either protect yourself legally and fight your landlord and potentially win, or let your landlord walk all over you. Hey, worst case scenario, if you do lose, then you just have to find a new place to live. That's one of those things where, if you really have that much trouble finding a new place to live, then yeah, there's some other issues. At any rate, the article does mention a couple of possible ways around this issue. One proposal is to require apartment buildings owner no. One proposal is to require apartment building owners to offer secure bike storage. That's not going to happen. It's a good idea, and I applaud apartment building owners, complex owners. I applaud owners that are willing to do this. Absolutely, 100%. That should be what's happening. I can almost guarantee you 99% of them are not going to. Another proposal made by the Housing Authority is to limit bikes to one per unit and only allow bikes that meet safety standards. But that would make it difficult for families and roomies who have more than one bike. Yep. Yes, it would. Even like me and my girlfriend, we I don't like that. Even like with me and my girlfriend, we live in a one-bedroom apartment, so we almost could make that work. Yeah. We could almost make that work in the sense that we would absolutely have to we would absolutely have to get an electric tandem bike or an electric cargo bike that can hold a second person. One of those electric bikes that can hold two people, basically. And it would be so freaking huge. It would be comically oversized to fit inside our apartment. And on top of that, we've already talked about it. She wants her own electric bike and I want mine because we both want that autonomy to ourselves of, hey, if she wants to go that way and I want to go this way while we're riding or whatever like that, we could do that and then meet somewhere else later on. And plus, she does not like taking turns like I like taking turns. She likes to take them nice and slow, not necessarily have to lean into them too much. I love taking turns fast, hard, and lean into that bitch as much as hard as possible. Our riding styles are so different from each other Just like our driving styles are so different from each other. So that really wouldn't work. Then you want to try to add kids in the mix? Forget it. Absolutely freaking forget it. So yeah, no, to have one, even just like one electric cargo bike that happens to have a backseat and a front bucket type deal, that's just not going to work. It's just not. So thieves are another big obstacle. I know from my brother's experience that riding an e-bike is quickly ruined by thieves. After only a few weeks at the local university, sorry about that. I know from my brother's experience that riding an e-bike is quickly ruined by thieves. After only a few weeks at the local university, thieves broke his very expensive lock and made off with it in broad daylight. We lucked out and managed to get a ping from the bike's GPS, but local police proved pretty worthless. Fortunately, New Mexico State Police actually put the work in to retrieve the bike, but there are several key parts missing, including the whole handlebar assembly. Oh boy. Yeah, that's something else too that I didn't think of until recently is that, okay, you go ahead and you install a GPS tracker inside the e-bike. Okay. And if you're really smart about it, you'll find a way to install it as to where even if that GPS tracker is even if it is discovered and ripped out by the thief, that makes it basically useless. Wire it to the other major components in such a way that, hey, if the hub isn't receiving a signal from the GPS tracker, then it won't go anywhere. It won't, you're gonna have essentially an analog bike with the weight of an electric bike. Trust me, that sucks. I've got first-hand experience on that. But yeah, that's the other part to it too. Is that you would almost have to GPS every single part, you would have to GPS almost, yeah, you would have to tag every single component, every single part of a bike, and that I couldn't imagine just having a GPS tracker on a tire, or in this case a handlebar, a light, or the derailleur, whatever the case is like that. I couldn't imagine having a GPS tracker on that number of parts and pieces like that. I don't know how that would work without without your smartphone telling you, hey, your handlebars and seat wound up, pulling into the Dairy Queen down the street. I don't know how that would work. Apparently, this is a big problem in New Zealand, too. Bike thefts have been common for decades, and the people generally haven't been able to do anything about them. If your bike gets stolen, about the only option you have is to waste your time looking for it like Pee Wee Herman. Oh, God. Yeah, okay, so this is that article. This is the article that I read that I presented that wow. So, yeah. Sadly, e-bike thieves are driving the theft rate even higher, largely because e-bikes are so valuable compared to the average Walmart bike. Well, yeah. The reason why e-bikes are so much more valuable compared to the average Walmart bike is because of the fact that the average Walmart bike is not made to last. They are literally made to fall apart. We've already experienced this. Me and my girlfriend did. She went through 3 bikes. She went through 3 bikes at Walmart, standard analog bikes. I literally tried to just adjust the brakes, right? I tried to adjust the brakes slightly so that way they would grip a little bit better. And literally the entire brake components, the whole braking system down there, the parts down there at the wheels, just fell apart whenever I touched it. Really? Like, it's ridiculous. So, yeah, no. The writer found that people are very nervous to get into riding after experiencing a theft, even if the bike was their primary mode of transportation before the theft. I can definitely understand that, except for the part where, well, no, I can still understand that because, well, the thing is that, first of all, I'm not the kind of person to just straight up, be knocked down and stay down. I'm the type that you knock me down, fine, it hurt. I'll get back up. I will get back up, and it's not gonna be pretty. I will get back up. I will get what I want, and I'll take my revenge out in a way that that is actually productive, right? So, I actually have a story to go into this. So I had one bike. It was an $800 bike that I'd bought at whenever I got it was either my second stimulus check or something like that. I had bought a bike that was supposed to be my second bike, my new primary, and the one that I had before that one was my backup. And I had went ahead and purchased a GPS tracker, worked on LTE, because the tracker itself was just a little, keyring tracker type deal. And it worked off my cell phone plan at the time. I had Sprint. And I had taken it into work with me. I had to park it. I went ahead and actually did park it right there at the bike rack. I had locked it up and everything like that, but I also went ahead and kept the tracker inside the pouch. And at one point, I had actually went back out to my bike to put a snack that I had bought for me and my girlfriend into my bag. And the bike was just straight up gone. Everything was taken and everything like that. They broke the lock and just took it with them or whatever. And I'm like, oh shit, it's gone. I go ahead and I pull up my phone and see if I can ping it down. And of course, it's heading west out by Sweetwater on the highway. And I'm like, oh wow, okay. It was picked up by somebody. I go ahead and I call my mom up and I told her that, hey, my mom was stolen. I called my mom to tell my mom was stolen. I called my mom to tell her that my bike was stolen, but I have the tracker on it and I can see right where it is. She told me at first to call the cops, and I reminded her that, hey, the cops haven't done anything yet for me, so I'm not very trusting of cops right now. She's like, okay, fine. She went ahead and came picked me up, and by the time that she picked me up, my bike was down in Decatur, and a little town that's just south of Fort Wayne. Right there at Decatur, right off the main highway, and I'm, as she's taking me down there, I'm, tracking it and everything, and it stays right there. We pull up to where it is, and there is just a bunch of trailer. It's a trailer park essentially, and there's some jacked up pickup trucks, the ones with the lift kits on them and everything like that, with just piles of bikes in the back, the biggest Confederate flag I've ever seen in my life, perched right up on the porch. And this is where my bike GPS tracker was pinging. And my stepdaddy's like, call the cops. I'm like, my bike's just right in there. You're a big burly man. You could walk up and go get. He's like, I'm not gonna do that. Go call the cops. My mom parked right around the I think it was a Hardee's that's right there, some sort of restaurant. And I go ahead and I call the non-emergency Decatur line to report that my bike was stolen. Dispatch had a cop come up to me, and I showed the cops right where my tracker was showing that my bike was. He says, "Okay, give me just a moment." He jets out of that parking lot with his lights going and everything, and I'm like, "Oh shit, something might actually happen." And he pulls over at my bike. The tracker for my bike actually pulls over about a mile further down the road, not quite a mile further down the road, down the highway. Uh, and dispatch calls me back and they say, "Hey, can you meet the police officer in front of the hardware store that's right there?" And I says, "Yeah, we can do that." We go there and there's like 6 cop cars that pulled over this piece of shit red minivan, and they pulled my bike out of the van and everything like that, as well as some plastic bags that had some white stuff in them. Take from that what you will. And this guy, they pull out this guy, the driver. He's just bawling his eyes out. He he has seen better days. I can tell you that much right now. He looks like he is strung out. And mind you, I'm up here. Like, I have been on a high. I've been like just wired 100%. I've peaked my I'm my excitement's been through the roof nonstop since my bike was stolen, and I'm finally about ready to get it back, and I'm just sitting in the car waiting for cops to actually get done with their bullshit so I can actually get my bike back and call it good. And yeah, so I got my bike back. At first they were trying to tell me, "Hey, do you have the receipt?" Well, no, I don't have the receipt on me, but, my tracker's in there. They're like, "Well, okay, we'll go ahead and release it to you once we're done with the paperwork." They got done with the paperwork and they released it to me. So, yay. I did go ahead and I got a better bike lock. I switched my phone service over from Sprint to Xfinity Mobile, and that proceeded to cancel off my trackers. My trackers wouldn't work. In the duration of time that it took me to find a new GPS tracker for my bike, one that would work on LTE, before I could get it picked out, bike was stolen again. Haven't seen it since. So, yeah. My luck with GPS trackers and actually being able to track down my bike is better than what this article right here is explaining. I just don't get it. I don't get how I don't understand how whenever you have a tracker that says, "Hey, something that I own was stolen and I'm trying to get it back. I know right where it is. According to my tracker, it should be right here inside this building." I don't understand how that's not enough proof for an officer to take action on it. I don't. I just don't. At any rate, the writer found that people are very nervous about it, even if the primary transportation. Okay. Even when police do manage to recover a bike, they often can't find the owners. registering e-bikes and or reporting them stolen with a serial number helped, but many people don't do that, and thus the people have no idea whose bike they got back from a known thief. So they end up auctioning around half of the recovered bikes off. That's sad. I mean, that is just truly sad. That I do not understand how that can. I just don't understand it. Straight up, I just. That's one of those things where, of course, if it's a car, even if it's not licensed, registered, and insured and everything like that, I bet you anything, cops would be all over it, and it would absolutely not go unnoticed. I bet you anything. Sweet. I just want to make sure that my software for my audio was working just fine because I had a little bit of an issue with it. Sorry. So, there are good ways to. Okay. There are good ways to mark a bike to make life harder for thieves and their fences. People who buy stolen property to resell as if not stolen, but they aren't universally used either by bike owners or police. I'm thinking I may have to invest in some in a gray hat team. I'm almost thinking that. Thieves all the way down. While I've covered 2 news stories in this article, it's important to point out that the thieves are the root of are the root problem in both cases. No, I'm not calling landlords thieves, even if some of them deserve it. Yeah, some of them do honestly deserve it. In theory, a New York bike owner could lock their e-bike up outside if the property manager refuses to let them in, but no one wants to do that. The obvious reason is that a bike in one's apartment is a lot safer from thieves than one locked up to a rack. This is very true. It's also part of the reason why, even with the fact that I have a tracker on my bike, I still keep it in the apartment with me. And I'm not talking about my S18. I'm talking about my street bike, the one that is the analog bike. It's a standard analog street bike. But with that being my primary mode of transportation right now, I absolutely want to keep it as safe as possible, so I keep it with us in the apartment. And essentially we've made accommodations for it, we'll say. So, yeah. The American legal and political system is loath to tell property owners what to do. If this were Europe or Asia, politicians would have already told them where to stick their e-bike bans, and people would be able to bring bikes that meet safety standards inside. But we're always on the lookout for communism here in the States, so we don't tell landlords what to do unless they do something really, really bad, like not provide heat. Yeah. Unfortunately, there's an amount of truth to that, too. But, like it or not, we are going to need to do something about the issue. Electric bikes are an important technology for cities to meet their climate goals, and they're also a key to fighting congestion. Being the anti-communist individuals we aren't going to talk everyone into the subway, so micromobility is the key. This is very true. Even if even if we had even if we had a good uh, uh, infrastructure for streetcars, even if we had good buses, even if we had good trains and everything like that, I still would. There are still times as to where I would want my independency. There'd still be times that I would want just to be able to essentially be by myself and not just go the direction that the train is going, that the bus is going, just because it happens to be going that way. There are some times where I just want to ride by myself, essentially. I know I'm not really going to be by myself because I'm still, surrounded by people. But it's the idea that I am as autonomous to my body and where I choose to go, even in a split second notice of, hey, what's over there? Chink. And, go that way. Even with that, okay, yeah, sure, I can still choose which way to go based on which bus to take or whatever like that, but it still doesn't lend itself to, I've got to stop to pee. Yeah, or, whatever the case is. So, with that being said, micromobility is the key. If we aren't going to make landlords let people take bikes inside, there needs to be another solution. Perhaps they could instead be talked into allowing owners to eject the battery and put it in a fireproof sealed bag. These are available on the market. I did not know that. I did not know that. And even if that's the case, I would still opt to keep my bike inside, just for the sake of knowing everything on my bike is, with me, secured, everything like that. I would still want the whole bike indoors with me, or at least, in a garage or something like that is being monitored by a human, or remotely by a human, or whatever the case is like that. Or they could require e-bike owners to check batteries with or they could require e-bike owners to check batteries in with an attendant in larger buildings. Hey, yeah, that could work too. And the attendant can put the batteries in a safe location that won't burn the building down. Buildings with parking garages could also host e-bikes in a special fire-resistant lockup. This is also true too. We need to get creative either way, but solving the property management issue only solves for one end of the trip. I personally think more people should consider folding bikes and scooters so it's easier to take the vehicle indoors at all stops. I mean, that's true, but I've seen those folding bikes. I would not ride one. They look hilariously tiny. Technically, my bike is too big to be considered a regular bicycle, but also too small to be considered a full-blown electric motorcycle either. So it's right there in the gray area, and that's kind of where I like to be. I like to be big enough that, if you can't see me, you definitely need to check your eyes. But not so big that I'm just taking up space unnecessarily. Or, being so big that I can't hardly pedal it at all without, needing to take a water break every 5 minutes. But then there's also the other part to it that, hey, if you fall over on a mini bike, that bitch is gonna hurt, because the thing is that, you know, you're it's so much smaller than what you are, that you're top heavy, right? By a lot. You're already top. I'm already top heavy for this bike, but not by much. Not by much comparatively to a folding bike. So yeah. If you don't like payables, okay. Moving on. K-Ron 4. Mission District businesses. Mission District business owners not happy about new bike lane installed. San Francisco business owners in Mission District are not happy about the bike lane recently installed. Oh, this doesn't look promising. How long have I been streaming for? Just about an hour now. Okay. Took me an hour to get through one article. So we're on hour, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll try to not be 7 hours long. So, okay. Business owners in Mission District are not happy about the bike lane recently installed. They're blaming a drop in sales on the bike lane. Really? Unless the bike lane was like... Okay, two things here. Something like this is going to take time to adjust. It's going to take time for people to adjust their mindset on, hey, we're going to go downtown, so everybody jump in the car. Versus, hey, we're going to go downtown, so, everybody pile your bikes into the back of the truck, and then we'll find somewhere relatively close to downtown to park. Versus, hey, we're going to go downtown and everybody hop on your bikes. There's a huge mindset difference between those three statements and between obviously those three actions. So if the bike lane was, first of all, poorly designed, if the bike lane was poorly designed, and if it was poorly placed, I last live stream that I did, I saw some terrible examples of bike lanes and bike paths and everything like that, bicycle infrastructure, that I would simply not ride on, because they were just that bad. I mean, they were hilariously narrow, dangerously narrow, actually. It's one of those things that you need to make sure to apply this change correctly. Like, actually apply it in a way that makes sense and in a way that can actually help everybody out. And then they're blaming a drop in sales on the bike lane. Cron 4 went to Mission. Cron 4 went to the Mission to hear from business owners and see the problems firsthand. Business owners say the customers are avoiding the area because the bike lane has made driving, parking, and business harder. They're hoping the city can step in and help out. That's nothing. Okay. Bicycles and some scooters zoom through the bike lane in the middle of Valencia Street. The bike lane allows you to cycle through Valencia relatively safely, said cyclist Alonso Salas. If you're trying to get from one side to the other, does a pretty good job of that. Okay. But that's exactly what business owners are complaining about. it's basically become a bicycle freeway. Folks are coming through the neighborhood, but not stopping off. Okay, okay. I can see where that would be frustrating. And San Francisco Latin X Demographic Club said yeah, said San Francisco Latin Demographic Club co-president Kevin Ortiz says the bike lane is causing traffic congestion because you can no longer turn left, and drivers are also hitting the plastic bollards. Oh, okay. So, and Ortiz says the bike lane is causing traffic congestion because you can no longer turn left, and drivers are also hitting the plastic bollards. People also seem to be avoiding the area because of the hassle of getting around. Okay, so it does sound like maybe it's just a design flaw. You know, first of all, plastic bollards, really? First, you've definitely got to put in some concrete or steel bollards in order for them to have the proper effect. Plastic bollards are obviously just going to be chewed up by traffic. Now, I say that with the asterisk of you got to make sure that you're also putting in concrete or steel bollards, stainless steel bollards. You know, you're placing them appropriately, right? Obviously, don't put them in a pattern in such a way that just chokes an already narrow street or lane. Because you do still have to respect the fact that some people are still just going to drive. And if they think they can get through something, they're going to try it even if they shouldn't. Unless, of course, if it's blatantly obvious, you're trying to squeeze, a super wide SUV into a super narrow, if it's blatantly obvious they're not going to get through, then they're probably not going to try. Unless they're just special. But you do have to make sure that they are appropriately placed. Otherwise, yeah, you're going to wind up running into problems. So it sounds like it just wasn't thought out through very well. So that's why a lot of people stopped coming because the parking was hard to find. That's why we're seeing less sales, gone down like 40%, said Los Amigos restaurant owner Miguel. Okay. Says he's had to cut staff due to a loss of business. For example, today we only had 3. Not worth it to have more than that. Not worth it to have more than that. Oh, like 3. Are you talking about like? I think he's talking about 3 staff. 3 staff members. That's bad to not for it not to be worth it to have 3, more than 3. Other business owners are holding a rally on Tuesday, calling the San Francisco Municipal Transportation Agency SFMTA to remove the lane and put back a turning lane. In a statement is committed to, okay, so the SFMTA is committed to making Valencia Street a safe and inviting place for everyone, and that includes businesses, residents, those who drive in the area, and those who walk, bike, and roll. I love that they said walk, bike, and roll, as if bikes don't roll, and as if we just don't know. We just don't know who else, what other mode of transportation there is besides driving, walking, and cycling. Except, of course, for scooters and skateboards. And yeah, I'll go ahead and throw in rollerblades just for, for some extra fun. Um, we want businesses on the Valencia corridor to thrive, and we want to do everything we can to support them. Okay. And yet you're having these fairly obvious blaring problems that, it's one of those things that you've really gotta, I think the city needs to go back and start over and look at a community-based transportation plan. Okay, so yes, obviously I don't see, like, there is no, like, images of what has actually gone down here from what I'm seeing. Yeah, I just don't see. That doesn't seem to be anything. So yeah, without being able to see, well, let's see. Valencia. This is in Valencia where? Valencia Street. I want to make sure. San Francisco. Okay. Valencia Street, San Francisco. Let me see here real fast. Valencia Street, San Francisco. Images. A car-free Valencia Street, San Francisco. All right, let's see what we got here. It could happen. It could happen. Yeah, no. I mean, this looks like the type of street that realistically should have been made for the people instead of made for cars like a while ago. Music returns. Yeah. To Valencia Street. Yeah. That looks like what it should be. Especially that. Yeah. I don't see a problem here. I've got to be missing something. I've got to be missing something. That somehow looks out of place. It just looks so out of place. Maybe I'm getting this wrong. I don't know. But where is? I'm just not seeing. Huh. Mission District, San Francisco. Images. Maybe it's that. Okay. Well, if you're talking about if they put a bike lane right down the middle of the street right here like this, I can understand. Mission Street District project. Is that it? No, that can't be it. I don't see it. I could see where putting a bike lane down the center of this street here would not be all that great of an idea. Because, it's kind of like putting whipped cream and sprinkles onto, banana pudding. No, that's a bad example. I don't know. As much as what I am in favor of you know, working towards converting. Yeah, as much as what I am for working towards converting streets that were originally bulldozed for vehicles and turning them into streets that are now designed to give people back their autonomy and their freedom of deciding what mode of transportation to use. I also recognize that that it in some cities and in some communities, converting it's been done so wrong that it leaves a bad taste in people's mouths whenever you want to come in and be like, we're converting all the streets to cycling lanes and making it super cycling friendly and people friendly. And the people of the community they've had it with bad cycling infrastructure. They've had it with just rerouting everyone's comfortable mode of transportation being sedans, vans, SUVs, and things like that on a dime. I can see where people would be upset by it. Did I see anything based on what I just searched that would suggest bad infrastructure design? Did I see anything that I didn't like? Except for the 2-lane street road hybrid cutting through a downtown, seemingly looking downtown area that people should be free to, people should feel safe to walk or cycle or ride their scooter to or whatever like that. With that one exception, I didn't see anything that would suggest that it was even done wrong. So I mean, I get it. If I missed something, then fine. I'd love to see it, to put my 2 cents on it and be like, okay, now I understand better. I just don't understand. Of course, it may also just simply be the fact that people are they get comfortable set in their ways, and they absolutely hate basically all forms of change. And so they wind up not liking any sort of change at all. And that's totally understandable. Whenever you get comfortable, you don't really want things to change. Me, and that's for certain people. Other people, they thrive in change. I thrive in change. Like, if I start getting comfortable, I then start getting lazy, and I start getting bored. So I want to change things up to see if I can find something else out. If I can find out something that might wind up being better than what I had. And if it's not, then I learn something and I revert back, or I keep going to see if there's something else that I missed. That's just the way I'm wired. But some people, they find a way and they stick with it. I thrive in change. I thrive in difficult times, hard times, and whenever I start getting comfortable, I start getting bored, essentially, and I want to see if there's something more I can do, something better that's out there, because the one thing I don't want to do is wind up finding out that the hard way, that the thing that I've been doing for so long isn't working, and the answer was obvious. I just didn't experiment enough to find it. And that's different than shiny object syndrome, although I can easily slide into that by accident. I usually am pretty good about judging the difference between the two and everything like that, but for the most part, I just prefer to if something is working smoothly, I let it run smoothly. I let the thing that's running smoothly run smoothly, but I also simultaneously am always got my eyes peeled and ears to the ground. And I'm always looking for the next thing. And it's not in the sense of it's not in it's not in the same sense as never really being happy with what I have. There are some things that I have in my life right now that I'm very happy with. I'm very pleased with and everything like that. But I don't get comfortable because whenever I start getting comfortable with something is usually whenever I get bored or whenever that thing is about ready to run out and I need another option. I need to find another answer to it. So that's my main thing essentially. So yeah, at any rate, that I'm going away with, block that. Okay. Insurance companies push back against e-bikes. Oh boy. I will admit, whenever I first read this, I'm like, well, okay, that's fine. Part of the shtick that I have with my business is that you don't need license, registration, and insurance to be able to get around because of the fact that they don't go fast enough to justify it. Even if you do get into a wreck or something like that, even if you do get into an accident, then it's going to be, minor at the most. You're probably going to wind up with a broken bone or something like that, but it's not going to be deadly. It's most likely not going to be deadly. Whereas with a sedan or van or SUV, it has this very strong likelihood of being deadly, or at least causing serious life-changing damage to yourself, and also much more expensive damage, property damage to another thing, or even potentially taking somebody else's life. But I looked through this a little bit to make sure, and wouldn't you know it, right here, bike shops and owners are feeling the squeeze. Okay, this is different. E-bikes are flying off the shelf, and for good reason. Not just because they are cited as the solution for everything from reducing traffic congestion to improving diabetes, but because they help riders go further and faster than a traditional bike, cost less than a car, and emit 99% less than carbon dioxide per mile compared to an SUV. If that, that sounds like an oversimplification, but point taken. Despite these positives, some e-bike lithium-ion batteries have been linked to spontaneous combustions. Oh boy, this is, this is definitely going the route of insurance for if your home catches on fire because of a battery and the insurance company doesn't want to pay for it. Some e-bike lithium-ion batteries have been linked to spontaneous combustions, resulting in hundreds of injuries, deaths, and destruction of property. Yep. Okay. In light of the darker side of e-bikes, many colleges continue to ban e-bikes on campus. Some landlords and HOAs prohibit e-bikes on their premises, and many local shops won't service e-bikes. Well, okay. I will point out one thing. The many local bike shops won't service e-bikes. It's because of the fact it's actually that one. I got this from somebody who actually works at a local bike shop here in town. The main reason why they don't service e-bikes is that don't come from them specifically, is because of the liability of, if we do something to your e-bike, we don't want you to come back at us saying that we screwed up, and thus costing you more money, more money out of our pockets and everything like that. they are a small business, and small businesses just cannot take that hit. They just don't want to take that hit, and I don't blame them at all. And personally, I've already had one bad experience. I'm pretty sure it was a bad experience. Well, it was a bad experience. And at first I thought that my e-bike wasn't working because of the fact that, and it may still be that factor too, but along with a few other ones though too. At first I thought it was because of the fact that the bike wasn't working because it was being shorted out because the wire for powering the bike wasn't quite plugged in all the way. Few days, the next few days it was raining, and so the rain got into the hub and caused it to short out. I thought that's what it was. Turns out it may be some other factors at play, but point is that could I have gone back to sue the local bike shop that damaged my e-bike? It's very possible. Did I really want to go through that hassle? No. I just straight up didn't want to go through that hassle. So, in light of the darker side, according to Reuters, as e-bikes become more popular and cause more serious injury, insurers are likely to react by revisiting homeowners' policy to more aggressively exclude e-bikes. Oh, dear God. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. The e-bike ripple effect continues to permeate. According to e-bike retailers and industry news, Scott Chambers, the owner of Zippy's Bikes, was recently dropped by his insurance company, Pennsylvania Manufacturers Association Insurance Company. Unfortunately, the program that we have your insurance in will no longer be writing bicycle shops at renewal. The non-renewal has nothing to do with your business specifically. The company will just no longer be writing the class of business. Per the September 13th notice, Chambers received from PMA. Chambers, who's never filed a claim against his shop with any carrier in 13 years, suspects the sudden and abrupt cancellation is because his shop sells and repairs e-bikes. That would be our guess because of the fires and issues with unapproved UL and cheap Chinese lithium-ion products in New York City, and possibly the Rad Power lawsuits. Okay, so cheap Chinese lithium-ion products. Yeah, that's the other part to it is that, like I said a little bit ago, a lot of these cheaper electric bike, no name, no face brands, they're literally just looking for fast cash. They'll find a cheapo $50 to $75 electric folding bike that's like a mini bike or whatever the case is like that, and they will sell it to you for an insane markup. Usually within the realm of like $300 to $400 or so, even as cheap as like $200. And it has gone through no inspections whatsoever. It has gone through no inspections. It doesn't have any kind of, or the stickers that it does have are fraudulent. They're fake. So do your research. If you see a brand on a shelf, if you see a business online or whatever like that, if you see a shop, even Amazon, Walmart, obviously, even just Google or whatever like that, and you try to look up that specific business and they have almost no social media or basically no social media whatsoever, that's a very good indication to, just not even bother. Excuse me. And so you've really got to do some research on it. And unfortunately, sometimes that research can lead you astray. But for the most part, and that's part of the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing right now. Is that, I'm saying, hey, I'm here, I'm making these products, or rather, I'm selling these products, I'm testing these products out. These are solid products. It's the reason why I took my S18 down, because we've got some work to do on it to get it ready to start promoting again. But in all honesty, we're probably just going to wind up we're probably going to wind up fixing this bike up so much it's going to be a different bike altogether. So yeah, no, do the research and make sure that you're getting something that won't blow up. Since receiving the notice, Chambers has yet to find new coverage. We are still shopping for insurance. Nothing yet, Chambers told Men's Journal. Chambers' situation may be the tip of the iceberg. Homeowners could soon be next. As e-bikes become more popular and cause more serious injuries, insurers are likely to react by revising homeowners' policy to more aggressively exclude e-bikes. Case in point, by a recent Reddit thread addressed an insurance company not covering e-bikes that go over a certain speed. We just had an e-bike stolen yesterday, so I filed a claim with USAA under our homeowners and valuable personal property insurance. We just had an e-bike stolen yesterday, so I filed a claim with USAA under our homeowners and valuable personal property insurance. I found out today that they don't cover e-bikes that go over 15 miles an hour. I have been a pretty happy customer for 20 years, but if anyone has any recommendations for insurance providers that do homeowners, personal property, and cover e-bikes, I'm all ears. Since insurance is governed at the state level, coverage or lack thereof may vary by company and state. Make sure I'm not missing anything down here. Okay, nope. So yeah, no. So this is a little bit more complicated, obviously, because apparently, according to this article at least, this is something that is apparently fairly common. Hey Sean, how's it going? I'm trying to like your comment and I can't like your yeah, I don't have enough screen real estate to, or wait, yes I do, I lied. Don't I? Okay, yeah, cool. Okay, so, yeah, no. So, the insurance company thing is a little bit more complicated because obviously you have your option of homeowners insurance companies. There's no shortage of homeowners insurance companies. However, what there seemed, at least according to this article, what there seems to be is a lack of homeowners insurance companies that will cover e-bikes, and in the case of, if the house burns down or something like that, that they'll cover e-bikes if there was damage to the home that was caused by the e-bike. And especially in the case of, if whenever you plugged in your battery, and the battery is the thing that caused the house fire in the first place. If this article is true, if this article is correct, and there really is just all these insurance companies that are just not that are just not wanting to insure people's bikes because of them having bad battery in them, because of them having a cheap battery in them, whatever like that. Yeah, good luck, because if they're hard pickings, or if they're going to charge a premium for it, if they're going to charge you out of the ass for it. That's the other part too, is that, you could fight with them, for hours on end. I need you to insure my e-bike. I need you to insure, da 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 da. And you could be fighting with them for hours. Okay, fine. They'll go ahead and do it, but instead of charging you, say like, $1,000 for the year or something like that, if you buy insurance in bulk, it's usually cheaper if you buy it in bulk, for the year. Let's say you go ahead and do that. Okay, instead of it being $1,000, it's going to be, $1,500 or $1,800, or screw it. They may double it and say, okay, $2,000 for the year coverage. So obviously, you're talking about, half the price of a decent bike at that point. And is that really worth it? I mean, at the end of the day, you're kind of negating part of the financial benefit of having an electric bike versus having even a Tesla or whatever like that. And unfortunately, insurance companies are allowed to be ignorant whenever it comes to the tech that you have in your home. So it's one of those things where it's at a total loss. I don't know that I have an answer for this. I don't know. Because for obvious reasons, you can't just go without insurance for the home and expect to be fine or whatever like that. Especially if you're planning on, staying at your home or staying at your apartment long term or whatever like that. Going long term without homeowners insurance or renters insurance, I don't recommend that. I can't recommend that in good faith. I don't have an answer for this. So, reflective gear won't stop cyclists from being hit by cars. Better bike lanes will. Hey, I've said this before. VeloOutside.com. No, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. Last week, a man named Joseph Crandall was killed by a driver. Oh, jeez. I really didn't want to start out an article like this. Okay, whatever. We're going for it. In their Toyota Tacoma truck. By all accounts, including the police's report in the news, Joseph did everything right, but he was still struck by someone driving their truck and was pronounced dead on the scene. Very familiar story, unfortunately. Also, moment of silence for the deceased. Joseph was even interviewed in past years. Okay. I was like, wait a minute, how'd they interview a dead guy? That would be a little... no. Joseph was even interviewed in years past by local news stations as he talked about the danger of a crash in the same area. Oh, good. Wow. In the same area. He spoke about how dangerous the street could be for people walking and biking. As grim as all this is, there are solutions to ensure Joseph won't be hit in the first. There are solutions to ensure that Joseph won't be hit in the first place. Uh, but first, it requires us to stop victim blaming and take serious action, both as individuals and as communities. Otherwise, you can expect to see cyclists and pedestrians. Pe- Otherwise, you can expect to see cyclist and pedestrian deaths increase, even if someone does everything right. Okay, so excuse me for a second. Okay, so yes, absolutely. Uh, you know, I get yelled at and honked at, and I've even had things thrown at me. Nothing that was gonna actually cause bodily harm or anything like that. Like, it was literally like, a styrofoam cup with a drink in it or whatever the case was. The double gulps type stuff. I've had things thrown at me from both passengers and drivers in the past of vehicles that were, they were coming up or whatever like that. And I, what do you want from me? I'm on a bike. And at that point, for most of it, I was on my Addict on a street bike. I was not on an electric bike that could allow me to keep up with traffic easier. And that's one of those things that drivers just don't have any respect for cyclists. A lot of drivers don't. There are plenty of drivers that do. Obviously, otherwise I wouldn't be here right now. But there are enough drivers out there that have no respect for cyclists, and so everything I'm gonna say in regards to this article is directed to those people. High-vis gear won't stop a driver from killing a cyclist. Isn't that damn right? More and more people are paying attention to visibility while being out on the bike. There's more info out there than ever about how to buy a light, particularly one that will be bright enough to be seen during the daytime to improve cyclist safety. Otherwise, others wear fluorescent clothing or gear with bright colors integrated in their design. Yes, 100%. And a lot of them actually look really cool. They're not, super nerdy or anything like that. I actually had my Addict. I had a couple of lights on it that they just strapped right into the frame. I'm gonna see actually. I don't think I can pull up the image. I'm on the wrong. I'm not signed into the right account for that to be able to pull it up. But my Addict. I had a couple of lights on the frame, on the inside frame, that because of the fact that it's a very red bike, and I had red lights on the inside frame, it just looked super awesome. And the tail light. The rear light, it actually had lasers that hit the ground, little laser lines that hit the ground, and it was so badass. Like, I was lit up, you could see me, and it looked badass all at the same time. So yeah, absolutely. Why are more people thinking about visibility and reflectivity? Wow. Why are more people thinking about more visibility and reflectivity? Outside of doing a specific poll asking people why, an educated guess has to do with the increase in on-road fatalities among cyclists over the past 10 years. Alongside that is an ever-increasing sense of danger that comes with just being out there and riding. Yep, absolutely, 100%. You can do a lot to make the most of this gear. You can concentrate these elements on places that are moving on the bike, namely your feet and legs. Lights that are bright enough to flash or strobe during the daytime can help. Companies like Redshift offer their ArcLight City pedals that feature lights built into the pedals that promise to improve visibility in a place that receives a lot of movement. Absolutely. As this level of gear aids in aids as this level of gear aids in visibility. I don't think they said that right. As this level of gear aids in visibility, some recent studies claim otherwise. A recent study we covered in Urban Updates say that 30% of responses found the use of safety attire, including a helmet, sunglasses, or reflective vest, is considered more likely to contribute to making a cyclist appear less human by drivers. Removing a helmet made drivers more likely to recognize a cyclist as human, though it wasn't enough to truly humanize the cyclist. Removing a helmet made drivers more likely to recognize a cyclist as a human. Because you can see a head as opposed to a helmet? What? That doesn't make any sense. Although it wasn't enough to truly humanize the cyclist. Why does dehumanizing matter? Dehumanization contributes to the propensity to commit violence and aggression. If an inanimate sign telling a driver that can't turn right at a red light is enough to bring out an axe, imagine the same. Wow. If an inanimate sign telling a driver they can't turn right on a red light is enough to bring out an axe, imagine that same aggression towards a cyclist. Okay. The study isn't conclusive evidence, as other studies show that fluorescent gear can result in reduced accident risk. But it does highlight the fact that requiring cyclists to wear safety gear won't stop a driver from killing a cyclist. As a high-vis vest won't stop a car from running straight into a cyclist, even in this example below in Brussels, Belgium. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Wow. Yep. Yeah. Absolutely, 100%. Cities need to do better. There is one proven way to lower the risk of cyclists being killed: adding quality bike lanes. Yeah, I think we can pretty much all agree to that. A quality bike lane works for cyclists, even the most novice of. A quality bike lane works for cyclists of even the most novice of levels to help them feel comfortable moving around their community. Usually they're separate from the road, or at the very least at the very least, partitioned in a way that provides freedom of movement and opportunity to get around. Okay. High-vis and fluorescent gear won't stop inattentive drivers from hitting cyclists. It won't stop a driver angered by the mere inconvenience of having to share the road. Unfortunately, it won't stop drivers who mean well. It won't stop drivers who mean well, but don't see a cyclist either. It's a bike lane. More specifically, it's separated bike lanes that improve cyclist safety. Yes, 100,000%. Make sure if there's any more here. Okay, no, I've just got these 2 more paragraphs to go. The U.S. Federal Highway Administration, FWHA, says the roadways converted to add bike lanes don't experience an increase in crashes or congestion. In the case of adding protected bike lanes in a city as congested as New York City. A New York City Department of Transportation study showed that travel times for cars have improved alongside a 75% decrease in the risk of a serious injury to cyclists. The bike lanes aren't going to lead to dramatically slower travel times for drivers. Communities incentivize dangerous, inattentive behavior when the safe option is inconvenient or non-existent. Put up signs all you want to tell people to act, but not even adding speed limiters in cars will prevent people from dying unless changes are made. Adding quality bike lanes is a good place to start. Okay, yes, lots going on here. But yeah, absolutely 100%. So, especially like this one right here, like there is no reason. Like this driver stopped for pedestrians because they were literally right in the, like they were literally just right there, right? And you know, we can see, oops, didn't mean to do that. We can see what the person was wearing, right? Don't get me wrong. I am all for having high visibility and making absolutely sure that you can be seen as long as the driver is paying attention. Unfortunately, drivers don't always pay attention. Or they are paying attention and they are aiming for the cyclist. I've said this before. I will restate this again. You know, putting up a lower speed limit sign is not going to stop people from doing 40 miles an hour, 45 miles an hour in a school zone. If they really want to do 40 miles an hour and the street allows for it, the infrastructure allows for it, drivers are going to do that. And in some cases, it may not even be that they're, you know, it's the school zones that like 30 miles an hour, but 25 miles an hour when children are present. Well, you know, here's the thing is that, you know, whenever I'm driving and if I happen to be driving through a school zone and I see what the school zone, you know, the 25 miles an hour when children are present thing going on, I will drive 25 miles an hour. I have no problem. In my girlfriend's Corolla, it's a 2023 Corolla, it has adaptive cruise control. I have no problem with locking the cruise control at 25 miles an hour, and even if I don't see a child present, in my mind I'm thinking, there's children present. Just so that I'm as prepared to stop as quickly as I possibly can in case I didn't see a child and all of a sudden there's a child. You know, that's just, And on top of that, like I said, I got it locked in ACC, adaptive cruise control. What that allows me to do is, first of all, the car will come to a full stop as long as it sees a vehicle in front of it, and it will tell me if it does or not. But also, it allows me to put just to rest my foot. I'm not pressing on the brake or anything like that, but I've got my foot resting on the brake. I can feel that brake. And we all know that it can take just that that second to shift your foot over from the gas to the brake versus versus already having your foot resting on the brake, and all you gotta do is slam on it to stop because all of a sudden there's a kid in front of you. That could mean the difference between that could easily mean the difference between sending a kid to the ER because they broke a bone or something like that, because you may have still ran them over, you may have still hit them with the car, versus sending a child to the morgue, to their graveyard, because of the fact that you again didn't see the child, but you couldn't react in time. It could be that difference. It truly could be. So I do drive whenever I'm driving, and if I'm driving through a school zone. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. I will go, and if there's two different posted speed limits, like I said, I will go for the lower one. And I'll get traffic backed up behind me. I do not care. If they want to be an asshole and pass me and, cause all this ruckus and everything like that, if they want to pass me, go ahead and pass me. You're the one that's the asshole, not me. I do not care. I do not care. If I'm late to work, I'm late to work. That simple. There is nothing that's more important that I'm going to than making sure that everyone around me is safe. So, plus, honestly, I don't care about going fast, especially through a residential urban area. Of course, if we're talking about the highway, then yeah, I'm taking the fast lane. But if we're talking about a local urban residential area, then no, I am going to go the speed limit. And if you don't like it, you can go around me. If you can go around me. But in this case, in the case of, in the case of something like this, there is no, and don't try to tell me that you're supposed to be on the sidewalk. Sidewalks are for pedestrians, not cyclists. And it's the way in which they're designed. It is the way in which they're designed. They are not designed for cyclists. They're designed for pedestrians. And aside from that, they're way too narrow. Most of them are corner turns. They're not designed for cyclists. They're designed for pedestrians. And in a case like this, I have no other option but to be right along here, right along the side of the street. It's one of those things that whenever this type of street right here, this kind of street road hybrid thing that they've got going on here, whenever the speed limit through here is 35, 40 miles an hour, I'm really just hoping that I don't get hit, that I am seen. And it becomes a really interesting game of, okay, do I stay down the middle of the lane so that way, I'm more visible and don't wind up, getting a whole bunch of drivers confused or pissed off with me because they're trying to pass me, and I'm giving them most of the lane in which to pass me, but maybe the lane next to them is going faster by them that they can't get past me, so they get more angry. Or I wind up disappearing because of the fact I'm wind up disappearing from the driver's vision because of the fact that, I'm just off their center view, and so they're really not paying enough attention to actually see me. So I'm a strong advocate for taking the whole lane when it makes sense. When if you're going through like a street that is, 20, 25 miles an hour, something like that, 30 miles an hour, I'll go up to 30 miles an hour and I will dominate the lane. But if, we're talking, 35, 40 miles an hour, not ideal. I'm not saying it's ideal. I'm just saying I have had to do that sometimes, and it sucks. But if we're talking about traffic that's zipping past me at those speeds, I kind of almost have to take the side here, just so that I know I'm giving drivers as much opportunity to pass me as possible, even if that means that I might wind up being less visible to a driver who's not paying enough attention to notice me off the side. But at the same time, I'm usually wearing a coat like this, or high visibility. I even with the fact that I've got my backpack on me, it still does have high visibility straps on it. It still does have reflective straps on it. So, eh, you know, that's one of those things where I'm having to pick the lesser of the two dangerous positions to be in, and I hope I get it right. And so far, I have. So. But yeah, no. Streets should be designed for people more than drivers. I'm not. I'm not saying that we need to ban drivers entirely. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just simply saying that we need to lend more. We need to start leaning. We're leaning too far into convenience for drivers. We need to start leaning the other way into being more convenient for everyone else. New York City landlords put the brakes on e-bikes. I'm glad your bike's safe, but we're not allowing anybody's bikes in. This may be basically the same thing, it looks like. Landlords and bike owners because e-bike spontaneously go up in flame. Yeah, I mean it's basically the same thing. I'm not gonna read it word for word. Let me just make sure there's nothing else here that I need to hit on. Incentivize productivity because they're frankly scared of losing their insurance coverage. Yeah, okay. According to the tenant building which bans e-bikes, the company views e-bikes as an extreme hazard to life, health, and safety and well-being, body and property of tenants. Wow, that's a little extreme. Is becoming more common, keeping their apartment and losing most of their practical means of transportation. Yeah. Putting residents between a rock and a hard place. Yeah. I had my e-bike, although it's one of those that look like a scooter with big battery. Okay. In the elevator, and the super just happened to come in. He stared at it, said you can't charge these in the building. You'll be getting a letter soon. I got it, and it said e-bikes are not allowed in the building anymore because of the fires that come up because of them. It's really sad to see because I just Alibaba. Yep. Any thoughts on this one? You know what? I'm going to go ahead and open that up and see what Reddit is saying real fast. I had my e-bike, although... Any thoughts on the building's choice? Buildings are in a tough spot. There is a genuine fire hazard from shitty batteries being charged indoors and an apartment building. And in an apartment building, people can't just assume that risk for themselves. They subject the whole building to risk. Unfortunately, buying a random bike off Alibaba is exactly the type of bike that building managers understandably have. If you have interest in bringing an e-bike in, it would. I would interest in bringing an e-bike in. It would. I would research UL certification and see if you can convince your building manager to allow you to purchase and store a UL certified bike battery, which has far less risk. Actually, three. But they fold in hoverboards and e-scooters and the like. This is with over 1 million e-bikes on the road. Okay, people die playing golf. More people die playing golf. There are 25 million golfers in the U.S., but I disagree. But I digress. Okay, but I digress. 20 deaths is obviously an awful tragedy, but it's hardly an international catastrophe emergency. Yeah, it's hardly an international catastrophe emergency unless you make cars and want to keep selling them as the only way to get around. Then it's total panic time. Whatever oil baron's marketing firm that's promoting e-bikes as dangerous is doing one heck of a job. Yes, unfortunately, this is true. I wouldn't let you store an e-bike brought from Alibaba either. See, that's the thing, is that you're not buying it from Alibaba, because Alibaba is just the manufacturer. God damn it. Okay, yeah. Kind of screwed myself on that one. Alibaba is just the platform, right? It's just the platform. You're using Alibaba to find different manufacturers that sell the product that you as a retailer want to sell. You're buying it from a manufacturer, most likely from China, and some of them, they go through a rigorous testing. They don't go through rigorous testing. They just shit out whatever they can for as cheap as possible and mark it way the hell up. I wouldn't let to say that I wouldn't let you store an e-bike bought from Alibaba either. I wouldn't buy I won't buy a bike from Walmart either, but that doesn't mean it's not because of the fact that it's dangerous, in the sense that it would blow up. I wouldn't buy a bike from Walmart because they fall apart way too easily. But I don't blame Walmart for that. I blame the manufacturer for that. It's not Walmart's job to ensure that the products that they get from the manufacturers actually work. It's probably not the building manager or owner making the decision. It's most likely their insurance company. Yeah. And it's the same with having certain breeds of dogs. Dobermans, Rottweilers, Pit Bulls, those type of dog breeds. Insurance companies just straight up hate them. And so if an insurance company hates something enough, they're going to tell they are going to tell apartment complexes and owners and managers to not allow these type of dogs in their apartments. Same way with electric bikes. Like I said earlier, insurance companies are allowed to be ignorant about this stuff. And like the person up here said, whatever oil baron's marketing firm that's promoting e-bikes as dangerous is doing one heck of a job. It might be that. I could see where that would be the case. It also may just simply be the fact that that insurance companies are just ignorant to it, and most are ran and operated by most are ran and operated by dinosaurs that don't want or like change at all. I'm willing to bet. I don't know that for sure, but I'm willing to bet that that's what the case is. Um, while it's mostly been cheap e-scooter, and hoverboard batteries causing apartment fires, an Alibaba bike is not likely to be any better constructed. It I wouldn't want to live next door to one that's charging. You wouldn't know that. I mean, you most likely wouldn't know that. I didn't know. Very few of my neighbors in any apartment, in the one apartment rather that I had my e-bike in, uh, uh, on the day that we were moving out, most of my neighbors didn't even know I had an e-bike at all, or let alone where it came from. They asked me where I got it and everything like that, in which I, told them, hey, I got this from a manufacturer, but I'm actually selling them because it's part of my business. Uh, they still didn't, they still weren't like, oh, well, I'm a little leery about it. They still didn't get scared, or even, honestly, they didn't even rat me out or anything like that. I don't even know if my apartment would care because there wasn't anything in the lease about it. Um, but that's one of those things where you really wouldn't know unless you were really snooping and have your nose so far up somebody else's ass, up your neighbor's ass, that that it shouldn't matter. Um, so yeah, get a quality bike and battery UL certified, and bring the battery inside in a backpack and charge it under your desk. You're not charging the bike, you're charging a battery. Mm, maybe. So yeah, all these are basically saying the same thing that I say, in the sense of, also just kind of finding out uh, different loopholes. Try to work with your apartment leasing office a little bit, but at the end of the day, it may not even be the apartment itself that is putting the hammer down. It may be the insurance company that does, and that's a whole different issue entirely. So yeah, it sucks. Uh, though the issue with the e-bikes, according to fire experts, comes from low quality lithium ion batteries that are not Underwriter Laboratory 2849 certified. I'm gonna look that up actually real fast. Underwrite UL certified, UL certification, evaluating and testing UL 2849. I like. Okay. E-bike certification, evaluating and testing to UL 2849. Evaluate and test certificate standard for electrical. Investigating potential. Oh, hold on. Here we go. Okay, and I'm going to even do that one more. Okay. I wonder if that's going to be too small. I don't mean for it to be that small, but yeah. Okay. Evaluate and test the certified to electrical investigating potential hazards in it is a fundamental part of building consumer trust and protecting brand reputation. With that said, new strategies and protective circuitry will be required for safe operation as an e-bike as a e-bike as e-bike technology evolves. To help assess the safety of e-bikes and powered electrically power assisted cycles EPACs. Wow. We involved industry leaders in developing next generation e-bike safety requirements for UL 2849, the standard for electrical systems for e-bikes. The standard offers electrical and fire safety certifications by examining e-bike's electrical drivetrain system, battery system, and charge system combinations. Okay. UL 2849 covers e-bikes typically sit to operate and over-the-road use and pedal-assisted electric pedelec cycles. The risk of electrical shock during charging over the life of the product, as well as potential electrocution hazards. Excuse me. The standard does not evaluate for the operator's ability to maintain control while riding. Okay. The UL solution is recognized by the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA. Hey, OSHA! As a nationally recognized testing laboratory in RTL to certify mobility products to UL 2849, the standard for electrical systems for e-bikes. Okay. I can get behind that. Yeah, absolutely. U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, CPSC, Micromobility Safety Guidance. Okay. On December 20th, 2022, the U.S. Consumer Products Safety Commission, CPSC, has called on manufacturers, retailers, importers, and distributors of micromobility devices to comply with established UL safety standards. This includes products covered by UL 2272 and UL 2849, which address electrical systems in personal e-mobility devices such as hoverboards and e-bikes, respectively. Click here to access release from CSP. Okay. I'm not gonna go through all that right now. That's New York City Council's law on micromobility devices and batteries. In a move to strengthen fire safety of e-bikes, e-scooters, and the lithium-ion batteries that power such devices, on March 2nd, 2023, the New York City Council passed Initiative 663A, mandating e-bikes, e-scooters, and e-mobility devices, electric bike scooters, and skateboards, and light electric vehicle EV batteries, EV battery packs, to be third-party certified. On March 20th, 2023, New York City Mayor Eric Adams signed into law. New York City Mayor Eric Adams signed this into law. With this new law, any company selling, leasing, or distributing micromobility devices such as electric bikes or e-scooters has until September 16th, 2023 to obtain certification from UL Solutions or another national recognized testing laboratory, NRTL. Okay. A local law takes effect in September, which will require, yeah, okay. National Bicycle Dealers Association statement to retail. Yeah. So this is already a thing. This is already a certification that actual e-bike brands should have. This has already been signed into law by at least New York City Council's law on micromobility devices and batteries. This is something that's already been signed into law. It looks like, albeit fairly recently, but still already signed into law. But unfortunately, I go back to insurance companies they're allowed to remain ignorant. They're allowed to remain ignorant. They're allowed to make up their own laws. They're rather not laws but rules. They're allowed to make up their own rules for what they will and won't insure. And unfortunately, homeowners and renters insurance is one of those things that you absolutely need in case something else were to happen, and you need that coverage and everything like that. Especially if you're planning on staying at some place for more than a year. If you're planning on staying somewhere, even an apartment complex for 3, 4, or 5 years, whatever like that. If you're planning on only staying in an apartment complex for a year, you might consider just going without it. I'm not saying it's a smart move. I'm just saying you may be able to skip it for a year or something like that. But I digress. This is something that is already signed into law, it looks like, based on what I read. And this is also something that it looks like is fairly easy to recognize and say, hey, does this e-bike that I want to buy, is it UL certified and tested? And that is something that that you should be able to ask the store for. You should be able to ask the store, and hopefully they're honest with you. And at that point, you are realistically just hoping that you're going to be told the truth, and if they don't have it, then I wouldn't recommend buying it. Some e-bike owners may be forced to sell their e-bikes. I've had some clients, unfortunately, that had to sell their e-bikes because the building said, okay, fine, I'm glad with your bikes. I'm glad your bike's safe, but we're not allowing anybody's bike in. Yeah. Personally, I would fight that. I would fight that a little bit more, to be honest. I would fight that, and if you really, at the end of the day, as the apartment complex, don't want to allow me to do what I deem as necessary to keep my personal belongings as secure as I deem necessary, then I'm breaking the lease, and I will go somewhere else. Unless you're willing to, give me an under the table insurance policy or something like that in cash, just so that I have something set aside for if I do happen to have my bike stolen or something like that. Then at least I'm not completely, out my main mode of transportation, which obviously is probably not going to happen. With e-bikes hitting an already oversaturated market at a reduced price, Hall told the Gothamist, that sales of new e-bikes were down between 15 and 20% compared to previous years. I have a problem with saying that that the e-bike market is oversaturated, because I still I see very few e-bikes in Fort Wayne. I still see mostly cars, trucks, vans, SUVs, sedans. I just don't see very many e-bikes around town. I just don't. Maybe I'm in the wrong town for them, or whatever the case is like that. Obviously, I know that VO Ride VO Ride pulled out of Fort Wayne this past year. Shout out to VO Ride. I know that they're, from what I understand, they're still in Ohio and maybe a few other cities in other states or whatever like that, but they pulled out of Fort Wayne, so that sucks. Despite property owners' pushback, e-bikes aren't going away. A recent prediction reports in 2023, e-bikes are expected to top 40 million units worldwide, 10 generating about US 20 billion in revenue. Okay, yes. Though the Big Apple has taken steps to reduce e-bike fires by inspecting bike shops that rent or sell bikes that are not UL certified, creating a buyback program to get low quality batteries off the street without burdening e-bike owners, and getting funding for external charging sites. Okay, some e-bike owners are going to fall through the cracks. Yeah, so this is awesome. This is awesome right here that they're doing this. I definitely commend that. Very surprised, actually, pleasantly surprised. But at the end of the day, also, I am also keeping in mind that at the end of the day, yeah, some e-bike owners are going to fall through the cracks. Some people might not even know about this and not know that they can go looking for it. And other times, just maybe the fact that maybe there's some details or whatever like that about this buyback program that it may exclude some people based on certain particular details. To bridge the gap, this gap, e-bike owners could explore bike insurance options. Bike Insure and similar companies provide compensation coverage for e-bike owners, encompassing not only fire-related risks, theft, accidents, and damage. Okay. Current underwriting restrictions don't restrict battery fire risk, said Buzzy Cone, the founder of Bike Insure, according to bike retailer industry. Though Bike Insure does not require bikes to be UL certified, it is important to note that the cheaper brand of less expensive electric bicycles that have experienced fire issues are not the type of e-bikes that have enrolled for Bike Insure, desiring comprehensive coverage of their bikes. Okay. It's important to note that the cheaper brand of less expensive electric bikes that have experienced fire issues are not the type of e-bikes that enroll. Okay. I think I see what they're saying. Okay. So let me just make sure real fast. Okay, yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah. So this is really just talking about, insurance for theft or insurance for damage. It's talking about, if charging the bike were to cause a fire or something like that. It's not necessarily speaking towards, you know, uh, where it's like driver's insurance, where it can just go up on you because of, you know, because they feel like it. I'm still not a fan of it, and in all honesty, to me, it's still complete and total bullshit, especially whenever you're talking about something. If you're talking about a bike that has that US certification to their battery, that effectively means that it is as safe as a smartphone battery is, or it's as safe as the battery for your electric vehicle is, or it's as safe as you know, your laptop battery is. Laptop batteries, the bad kind of laptop batteries can create and cause just as much damage as a cheaply made electric bike battery that doesn't have a UL certification to it, because they're the same makeup and style of batteries. It's just the fact that you happen to now have a lot of people that are jumping onto e-bikes because of the fact they realized they didn't need a car in the first place. Or they've recently gotten into a lifestyle that that now does actually allow them to not have to drive a car all over. So, you know, and also keep in mind, you know, I've heard a lot of people say, "Hey, history has a potential of repeating itself," and you know, there was a point in time as to where you were thought of to be insane if you wanted to stick a internal combustion engine on a horse-drawn carriage, because, well, why would I do that whenever I have one or two perfectly good horses to pull my carriage? Because, you know, that internal combustion engine, hey, then it's right there in the name. It's combustible. It explodes. That is, first of all, how it works. But then also, you're hoping that every explosion is a controlled explosion to make it work, instead of an explosion that will cause a mass fire and cause damage and everything like that. So, you know, we're seeing the same thing repeat here. We're seeing history repeat with technology, with this new tech that is, well, old tech that is being applied to something new and in a new way. And I blame insurance providers, as long as it's the insurance providers that are making us think about this, and in your particular case, as long as it's the insurance providers that are making us think about this, that is the reason why you're not allowed to have your electric bike, scooter, or skateboard in the apartment with you to charge it. If as long as it's them, then I will blame the insurance providers for being ignorant on electric bike batteries and electric bike technology, electric scooters, and the like. I will blame them for that. But what I can't really blame them for is wanting to protect their properties, their assets, being their apartments, and against people that they are just buying a electric bike off of Alibaba because it happens to be cheaper, and the reason why it's cheaper is because of the fact that they cut so many corners, and one of the corners that they cut was making sure that the battery was actually safe. You know, if that's the case, I can't really blame the insurance providers on that as much as I would like to. Because I still think at the end of the day that a lot of these insurance policies, especially driver's insurance, is a straight up scam. But history is repeating itself at this point. And you know, the most, and I am going to do everything in my power to educate and create this content that is create, you know, content like, you know, me just reading this article here, that allows people to be educated and informed, and at the end of the day, if they don't want to, then you as the renter or you as the homeowner have the option to simply drop that insurance for a different one, and hopefully hopefully find one that this bike insure one, look into them. I would suggest looking into them for anybody that's having any trouble with their renter's insurance or anything like that. Get that bike insure on top of your renter's insurance, whatever like that, and just, make sure that you are protected. I'm never gonna advocate for, I'm not gonna advocate for making sure that you're not protected. What I will advocate for, though, is getting a bike, scooter, or skateboard to replace a car, and that one of the biggest benefits to it is that you don't have to pay car insurance anymore, driver's insurance, because that shit is a straight up scam. But part of me is a little hypocritical in this, because do I think that you should have some sort of insurance? Technically, I've got insurance for my bike, but it's in the form of a GPS tracker that I'm being charged $20 a month for, because it works on LTE data. So that is kind of my insurance in a way. It's my own insurance. At the end of the day, it is not. It's not insurance from an actual insurance company. It's insurance in a tracking sense, in a security sense. So, how long have I been going for now? 2.5 hours. I've got 3 more articles to cover. Cops are adopting unique method to catch non-street legal e-bikes. A little too ironic. Okay. Moreover, public transportation. Say hello to electric bikes, the newest trend in town. Originating in the 1990s, e-bike ownership is booming, with prices becoming more affordable, along with the rising awareness of wearing a I started to say wearing a helmet. That doesn't spell helmet. With rising awareness of a warming planet. Okay. While e-bikes come with a plethora of benefits ranging from convenience to cutting down personal air pollution, the road to glory has not been the smoothest. Too fast for a bike lane and too slow for public roads. The laws regulating e-bikes have been a definite challenge. Oh yeah. Oh yes. Just be careful. Just be careful if you happen to be riding your e-bike in Washoe County. I'm gonna make sure I pronounce that right. Okay. Pronunciation.
Washoe County.
Washoe County.
Washoe County.
Okay. Cool. Washoe County, Nevada. Electrek reports that cops are adopting a unique method to be more nimble while catching non-street legal electric bikes, and it's raising a lot of eyebrows. An ironic strategy. In an ironic strategy, police in Washoe County are now using e-bikes in an effort to catch those using e-bikes. Ha ha! The majority of offenses aren't because e-bikes are illegal, but rather because they aren't being driven in the proper areas. Okay. If we're talking about like parks or sidewalks, I can agree with this. If we're talking about streets, I cannot agree with this. If we're talking about highways, I can agree with this. What Washoe County passed a ordinance that prohibits e-bikes from the bike paths, forcing them to use the street along with cars. It's a problematic solution since the manufacturers, such as Suron and Talaria, have been explicit in their e-bikes are not street safe. They really haven't been. They really haven't been that explicit about it. At least not from my point of view. At least not from my stance. I might have missed something, but yeah, no. It's mostly in. I'm mostly speaking from the standpoint of content creators on social media that using that they are writing Surons or they're writing Talarias, specifically Suronster. Shout out to Suronster. That they are using their Suron in the streets, and I guess a little bit on like some of the lower speed highways, we'll say. And he's not doing it in, he's not doing it in a dangerous way. As a matter of fact, I would actually argue against it. I would say that he's absolutely doing it in a sense. He's absolutely doing it in a way that he is a stuntman after all. He is a hobbyist stuntman. He's not, as far as I can tell, he's not a professional stuntman. He's not being paid to, jump the Grand Canyon like frickin' Evel Knievel. But he's also definitely not, just out for a ride usually. He's usually riding wheelies for practically miles on end. And but he's not doing it in a way that's necessarily meaning to be dangerous or meaning to be, he's not doing it in a way that's really made to he's not doing it in a way that's made to be dangerous. He's doing it just because he enjoys it and he kind of treats it like a recreational activity in a sense. So, that's just one of those things where Talaria, I haven't really even looked up Talaria's website or anything like that. I'm curious now. I'm going to go ahead and look that up real fast. Talaria shock bikes. I think this is it right here. Canadian. Okay. Let's see what we get here. Okay. I see some stuff here. This is looking like a really really sporty. Ooh, very dark and moody. I like it. Talaria Sting electric bike was born to bring cutting-edge performance to all riders. It features a CAD design, lightweight. Find a dealer, become a dealer. Sting and I mean, this seems to be a direct rival to Suron. Please note that all motorcycles sold by Talaria or its dealers are for off-road use. Okay. These vehicles may not comply with certain national, federal, provincial, and or local laws or regulations. The buyer has the duty to inform himself about the various possible applicable restrictions concerning the use of such a type of product. Depending on the place where he is, he assumes full responsibility for the use he decides to make of and the possible associated consequence. Yeah, so they say right here, all motorcycles sold by Talaria or its dealers are for off-road use. I'm curious now if I missed that from Suron, but I will double check. Suron USA. Okay, let's see what it says here real fast. Manual, game changing. There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot. There's obviously a good amount of differences between Suron and Talaria, visually speaking at least, but it's fairly obvious they're direct competitors. Or it's possible that they're both owned. That these two companies are both owned by the same person in a sense. If that makes sense. Product download, viewer, yeah, right of your life, $4,000. Well, almost $4,500. No, there is nothing, at least on the home page. Mid-drive is long. Here we go. The Suron is taking the U.S. by storm. Mid-drive electric bike that you can ride anywhere. Fast, long range, and reliable. Suron, up to 30 miles an hour range, 30-mile range. There is nothing, at least up front. Here we go. Easy to maneuver like a bicycle with the torque of an off-road. Okay, never mind. It enables. Okay, yeah. There is nothing. I don't see anywhere on this website. I'll scroll through a little bit slower. Ultimate power, view all features, see it in action, explore. From $4,400. Contact us. Yeah, there's nothing on Suron's website that suggests that is actually telling you that, hey, these are for off-road use, not that they may not be street legal. At least Talaria is stating that, hey, these are for off-road use. Now, obviously, what we just saw with the Suron's website, visually, they are promoting this product in the sense of it being for off-road use, similar to what Talaria is doing. However, they are not stating it on their website in plain text like Talaria does. So, have been explicit in there. The traditional gas-powered transportation industry is responsible for over 20% of all Earth-warming air pollution, which affects not only the climate but also our personal health. In an effort to reduce this number, starting in 2035, 17 states have agreed to no longer allow sales of new gas-fueled vehicles. That is very optimistic. That is very optimistic. The traditional gas-powered transportation industry is responsible for more than 20% of all Earth-warming air pollution, which affects not only the climate but also our personal health. In an effort to reduce this number, starting in 2035, 17 states have agreed to no longer allow sales of new gas-fueled vehicles. It's very optimistic, I will say. I would almost argue it's too optimistic, but I'm coming from the standpoint of electric bikes and scooters and skateboards, not from the standpoint of electric sedans, vans, pickups, and SUVs. So do I think it's possible if we're talking about electric bikes, scooters, and skateboards? Absolutely 100%. Do I think it's possible if we're talking about sedans, trucks, vans, and SUVs? No, I do not. I think that maybe 2045, I would give it that additional decade, because you are talking about uh, uh, you are talking about the shifting of of society's habits, and that is no easy feat. I think it'll take at least another decade, from what this is saying, uh, because of the fact that uh, we don't know if we don't actually know if there's not enough lithium ion, if there's not actually enough lithium to make batteries. We don't know if we're going to find another source of batteries. I think cobalt is the next one up for up to bat for being reliable battery technology. But we just recently discovered it, right? We just recently discovered that it can be used, that cobalt can be used as battery energy. And then, of course, we're talking about the infrastructure, mining it in safer ways, and so on and so forth like that. There's so many different facets. So I would say add another decade to that number, at the bare. I would say at the bare minimum, just because we don't know enough yet. We just don't know enough yet about, quite honestly, to really go really broad. We don't know enough yet about the world that we live in, or if we are going to make it to Mars by that time. It's possible. I'm just saying that let's be a little bit more realistic here. Do I believe that we can be fully electric with everything and have it be still sustainable and be as green and efficient as we possibly can, and have everything swapped out that was gas and oil for electric, being hydro, solar, or wind? Yes, I do. Do I think that I will see it in my lifetime? I can't say. I just cannot say. I don't feel confident enough to say yay or nay. Am I optimistic that I will? Yes. I hope to. I hope that I'll either see it in my lifetime, or that I'll be alive long enough to see it, appreciate it, and enjoy it. I just don't know. I can't say one way or the other. There are no federal laws regarding e-bikes. Yes, there are. There are no federal laws regarding e-bikes, so regulations currently vary by state. In a scattered attempt to keep up with the rising popularity when purchasing an e-bike, make sure you do your research. There are federal laws regarding e-bikes. There has been the electric bikes that I want my business to sell are gonna be federally street legal without needing license, registration, or insurance, and that is that they don't go any more than 30 miles an hour. It's really like 28.6 or whatever it is like that. It's a very specific. It's a very oddly specific number. Don't ask me how they came up with that number. I don't know. But 28.6 miles an hour, and 750 watts of output. So it's enough to get you going, even over hills, even against wind, even with extra stuff on your back and everything like that. It's not necessarily it's not gonna be enough to allow you to ride wheelies or anything like that, but it is absolutely enough to get you going. There has been a movement to encourage infrastructure for e-bikes as opposed to creating legislation against them. Huh. Because one way just makes more sense. The other way is the lazy way. A compromise would be beneficial for riders, road safety, and the overall health of this planet. Yeah. One reader commented, a little too ironic. Yeah. Self-described personal EV enthusiast and battery nerd who, Micah Toll, he's possibly from, That might be the same guy from Electrek and ebikeschool.com. Go check out his website. Uh, Michael Toll, self-described e-bike self-described personal EV enthusiast and battery nerd who authored Electrek. Yep, Electrek's piece wrote Elena, eat your heart out. Was county Washoe Wash county has banned e-bikes from all bike paths, said a local resident. This seems counterintuitive to reducing car trips and pollution in the Lake Tahoe basin. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it because it is. I mean, it just is. If you're really going to ban e-bikes, I can understand wanting to ban, like, Surons and Talarias and those are actually considered electric dirt bikes. Okay. Those are considered electric dirt bikes, and it's because of the fact that they go like 50 miles an hour, 50. They go 50 miles an hour, and on top of that, they do start out at 1,000 watts and just go up from there, which is why people are able to ride wheelies and everything like that. They are not made. Bike paths are not made for those kind of vehicles, you know. And I would also argue that a lot of bike paths aren't really made for even the type of bikes that like the S18, because there are some spots that are just super narrow, and I've really got to slow down a lot. But those electric dirt bikes are not the goal for Ebs. The goal for Ebs is local urban commuting, right? Local urban commuting without having to have license, registration, and insurance. That is what Ebs' goal is. So, you know, if we wind up having a particular city that wants to put a ban on all e-bikes on all e-bike paths, my team of lawyers is going to have some fun. I don't have them yet, obviously, but that is definitely something that I'm anticipating that I'm already going to be having to fight, you know, city regulations in some states and whatnot like that, because, you know, I've seen a group of kids riding street bikes and BMX bikes in a group. In a neighborhood. They were just riding around having fun. They weren't causing major catastrophes or anything like that. And police officers confiscated their bikes and were trying to tell them all this bullshit and everything like that. It was so sad to see, because these were literally just kids. They were like teenagers. Tweens, essentially, anywhere between, I would say, 10 to 14, maybe 15-year-olds, whatever like that. They're like kids. So, that's just one of those things that, watch out. Okay. ABC 7. Director response to Valencia Street. Okay. Maybe this one. Really? Really? Come on. No. Oh, okay. Cool. I'm glad that you guys didn't see that. There was a whole screen pop up ad. I'm like, dear God, you gotta be kidding me. Okay, we're gonna let Flo do her thing real fast. One of one. Come on. And here we go, hopefully. 2, 1.
At least one cyclist had to maneuver through the crowd standing in the Valencia Street Center bike lane today as people called for the SFMTA to make a change. Members of the Latinx Democratic Club, community leaders, and Valencia small business owners want to see this pilot project removed.
The SFMTA just continually continually overlooks the concerns of the stakeholders in the areas they're talking to.
For months, residents and small business owners have said they're suffering. They say the center bike lane has been linked to small business closure.
Okay. One thing I will mention here. Yeah, that's a terrible way to implement a bike lane. Dear God, what? I mean, oh my God. No wonder why people are pissed. You literally just planted a bike lane right in the middle of the goddamn street like that. A multi-lane street, a street road hybrid. First of all, you get a street road hybrid, and then you're just going to want to put a bike lane right in the middle of it that stops right there? Are you kidding me? Oh my God. I don't... Valencia, San Francisco. I do not blame you for being upset by this. I do not blame you for being upset by this one bit. This right here, this is straight garbage. I do not blame you guys one bit. I do not blame anyone there one bit for being pissed off with something like this, with hot garbage like this. Oh. Wow. Okay, let's continue.
Increased traffic fatalities and a drop in foot traffic.
We've been in business for 33 years, and this is the worst 6 months that we've ever seen.
The project was supposed to have its first formal evaluation at the start of the new year. That's now been pushed to February.
They don't have any data right now to support it. They promised to have the data now and a report out, but they don't.
SFMTA Director of Transportation Jeffrey Tumlin says they need more time due to adjustments that were made to the design of the bike lane and regulations around parking.
People are saying that while you're making those adjustments, businesses are closing, they're dying, they're suffering. How do you respond to that?
Well, that is very concerning to us. One of our number...
I mean, well, that is very concerning to us. You couldn't have sounded less empathetic to it if you wanted to. Whenever people wonder why I am so pro-business and pro, the people, and so anti-political, anti-government, it's because you get asshats like this. Well, that is very concerning to us. I'm at a total loss for words.
One evaluation criteria for the street is small business success.
Still, Tumlin says more retail performance data is needed to determine whether the bike lane itself is causing distress for small businesses.
How many businesses would have to close potentially between now and August of 2024 for it to be removed?
Oh! Oh, wow. Oh, she got right to the hard question. Oh! Oh! Ooh. Oh my God, yes.
At what cost?
So again, one of the things that we're trying to understand is to what degree are the concerns that Valencia merchants are facing, to what degree is that directly related to the bikeway, or is it related to other citywide factors? Again, here in downtown San Francisco, merchants are also really struggling.
These merchants seem to think that this is about the bike lane. That's what they're telling us. Are you not hearing that message? Not getting to you?
We are working with all of the merchants. We are walking the corridor and talking to all the merchants.
There's always going to be cars in this town.
Oh God. Okay. Okay. So, if you are walking the corridors, if you are visiting the merchants and everything like that, if that is true, then absolutely, by all means. If that's true, how the hell did you shit out something so pathetic as literally just a bike lane in the middle of a road, in the middle of a street road hybrid type deal? And her thing about it,
all of the merchants, we are walking the corridor and talking to all the merchants.
There's always going to be cars in this town, and it's difficult when the needs of a small percentage appear to be outweighing the needs of a lot more people in terms of merchants and residents.
Following the press conference,
I can't blame her for thinking that. I cannot blame her for feeling that. This hurts. This legitimately hurts. Like, people are fed up with the idea of using bike, scooters, and skateboards to get around town, to get around small towns, whenever the answer that they're given is this. I can't blame them.
period. As for
Needs of a lot more people in terms of merchants and residents.
Following the press conference, attendees moved to the SFMTA board meeting where they shared their concerns during the public comment period. As for calls Tumlin be fired,
I serve at the pleasure of the SFMTA board, and I am going to continue to happily serve them until I'm told that it's time to get somebody else.
Okay. You heard it right there. You heard it just right there. You heard that. He is there to serve a board. He is not serving the people. He is serving a board of directors who probably, I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark here and say his board of directors probably has not even been to a Walmart in decades. That people wonder why I have a problem with politicians. People wonder why I have a problem with political figures. That statement is why. His tone is why.
Tumlin tells me that he's planning to walk the corridor tomorrow and speak with business owners again about this. This pilot project is set to go until the end of August of 2024, but at any time the SFMTA could decide sooner to dismantle the project. In the newsroom, Melanie Woodrow, ABC 7.
I almost hope that they do dismantle the project, because here's the truth of it. The truth of it is that project resulted in one of the worst excuses of we're helping people get around easier. It resulted in the worst excuse of a bike lane I have ever seen. And yes, I'm putting that above the previous live stream that I did last week, where I was showing that super narrow bike lane that a person could barely fit a tricycle through it. Wow. If that is your definition, if that is your plan as far as putting in better cycling infrastructure, you might as well not even try. You might as well not even do it. Okay, I am at 3 hours 8 minutes. I'm gonna see if New York City council member pushes bill requiring... Oh, yeah. This is going to piss me off even more, I can already tell. And it's super short. Is it going to be short enough? I don't think so. This person, I'm assuming. Councilman Robert Holden of Queens demands city lawmakers move forward with his proposed bill to require license plates and vehicle registration on any electric bike, scooter, or motorized vehicle. They are not motors, they are hubs. The bill, which was introduced last year and is sponsored by 31 of the city council's 51 members, takes aim at e-bikes used by thousands of delivery workers as well as pedal assist e-bikes, such as those in the city bike fleet. Ooh. During a rally, I'm going to go ahead and blow this up a little bit so that way... There we go, that's better. During a rally outside City Hall, Holden said the surge of unregulated electric bikes, scooters, and mopeds across the city has become a safety concern. He called for his bill to receive a hearing in the council's transportation committee by the end of the year. FDNY data shows that lithium-ion batteries have powered many e-bikes and e-scooters, have sparked fires that have killed 18 people and injured another 133 so far in 2023. Hey, you know what? I bet you anything that the number of people that have been killed by either I bet you anything that the number of people that have been killed by a driver of a vehicle is far greater than you know, these numbers here. I can almost guarantee you that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and look that up right now. To hell with it. I'm going to go ahead and look that up right now. Just to make sure I'm typing this in right. I'm not going yet, but... Okay, so spark fires that have killed 18 people and injured 133, another 133 so far in 2023. Vehicle deaths in 2023. 2023. Car accident deaths. How many car deaths in the U.S. in 2023? Hey, you know what? Here we go. I'm gonna... Okay. An estimated 19,515 people died in motor vehicle traffic crashes, representing a decrease in about 3.3% as compared to 20,190 fatalities in the first half of 2022. Fatalities declined in both. The fact that that number is lower, even if only by 3.3%. Oh my God. Like, okay. 19,515 people died in motor vehicle traffic crashes. Going back here. There's no comparison. You're talking about literally just over a dozen people killed versus tens of thousands. There's no comparison. Holden said requiring e-bikes to have license plates would discourage their riders from fleeing crash scenes. No, it won't. Let's find out who they are, Holden said, referring to e-bike riders. How many actual e-bikes do you see stopping at red lights or observing traffic laws? Most. Honestly, most. I do. Data from the city's Department of Transportation shows just one pedestrian has been killed by an e-bike rider in the city so far, compared to at least 90 pedestrians who've been killed by drivers in 2023. Yeah. Pamela Menes said she was hit by an e-bike rider in Manhattan last year, and that it's unfair that automated red light cameras don't ticket e-bikes. But on the upside, you're alive. Would you rather be dead because it's a motorcycle that's way heavier and faster and more powerful? They caught the guy. They would have caught the motorcyclist. But you'd be dead. Versus an e-bike that, what? Did you break a bone or something? Break your hip? Maybe you're out of work for a little while. Okay. Yeah, hopefully your medical insurance covers it. If not, then, well, you're still alive. I mean, we are all faced with with e-vehicles, riding on our sidewalks. To be fair, e-bikes, as long as they're not exceeding 15 miles an hour, and even then I would still question it. To be fair, electric bikes I don't believe should be on the sidewalks. They should not. They are slow-moving vehicles. I don't even ride my street bike. Well, I don't even ride my street bike on the sidewalk. Gee, I wonder why. Yeah, no, I didn't. I very rarely. I started riding my standard bike on the sidewalk until I realized that, oh well, it's actually I actually most likely won't die from riding on the street, so I'm just gonna ride on the street. So yeah, no, you shouldn't be riding on the sidewalk. The sidewalk is for pedestrians, since the name walk, not ride. Said ride. That doesn't, driving illegally. How the hell are you gonna drive a bike illegally? Whatever. Going often faster than car speeds. That's very interesting. Because unless you are, freaking some sort of an Olympic cyclist or something like that, you're most likely doing really good to keep up with traffic. Going faster than cars. So they put all of us, our children, our elderly, our disabled, as I am now, in grave danger. No, they don't. They're actually helping. Because one more bicycle, scooter, or skateboard on the street is one less driver on the street, which, as we just saw, actually kills more people. Drivers kill more people than what drivers kill more people with their car than what bikes do, than what skateboarders do, than what scooters do. They just do. Danny Harris, executive director of Street Safety Group Transportation Alternatives, said the bill unfairly steers the blame for traffic violence away from drivers. Yeah, it does. He said an analysis from his group found no one has been killed by an e-bike rider in Holden's district since he took office in 2018. Good. If you wanted to address street safety, there's a holistic approach. Harris said, when you engage with street design, when you look at how you take advantage of the tools that we already have, you can actually advance and fast track safety across the city. Harris said delivery apps should be held accountable for putting workers at risk, and called for regulations around the sale of e-bikes and lithium-ion batteries. There's already regulation. There's already regulation on that. We had already talked about that. I already brought that up. There is there is federal regulation around sale of e-bikes, around use of e-bikes, and around what certifications lithium-ion batteries have. It is up to the consumer at that point to make sure that they are abiding by those regulations, and if they are not, then yes, then if they are caught, then by all means dish out the punishment that's necessary. But it doesn't mean that just slap a license plate and registration requirements onto bikes, scooters, and skateboards, and all of a sudden all your problems go away. It just doesn't mean that. The rally came a day after Mayor Eric Adams announced a pilot program to establish public charging stations where delivery workers can park and charge their e-bike batteries. Hey, so okay, you, sir, assuming that your name is Robert Holden, can piss off, and you're not doing any good. It's the mayor of New York City that actually seems to be doing some good. So, yeah, no. Okay. I've been on stream for almost 3.5 hours. Okay, I was going to go through my bookmarks on X, but I'll just go ahead and call that good then. And I will close out by, full disclosure one more time, and for, of course, my website. ridewithebs.com, ridewithebss.com, electric bikes, scooters, skateboards.com. This beanie is available right now for print on demand order. If you put in the order right now for it, I will make sure that it gets to I will make sure that the order gets printed. I got mine within a week, but with holiday season coming up and everything like that, I'm just not sure when it's gonna come to you. It may come in before Christmas. I don't know. But just know that you buying this beanie means that I can that me and my business partner can experiment with different first of all, getting my SA team back up and going, but then also Frankensteining electric bike, scooters, and skateboards together for the business, and it'll allow me to grow and get inventory in and everything like that. So keep that in mind as you search on my website for that beanie, and I will call that the stream for tonight. So good night.